Chapter 31, No More Solos. Church convened on April 3rd at a Super 8 motel in Prescott. Skull Valley had a clubhouse, but for some unknown reason, we couldn't use it. We met Joby first, drove to the motel, parked, and went inside. We went up to the second floor and walked to the room. That day's Arizona Republic lay on the threshold in a plastic bag. Joby knocked on the door 3 times, paused, then knocked once. The door swung into the room. Rudy Jamie, the short, pierced meth head, stood in the dark hall wearing a half smile. He nodded and told Joby to come in. Joby turned and gave us a deep nod. He went inside. The door closed, the locks tumbled, the chain slid back into place. Timmy, Pops, and I stood in a tight circle looking at each other. Pops made a little frown and shrugged. Timmy and I were motionless. Rudy was probably watching us through the peephole. 20 minutes in a motel hallway, an eternity. We couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't smoke, we couldn't talk. The ceilings were low, the hall smelled like Febreze. We lined up against the opposite wall, and the 3 cleaning ladies walked by. They were from south of the border. Pop said hola as they passed. They giggled and mumbled hola back. We didn't know it at that time, but this was the first course of our prospecting phase. It was a small, uninspiring appetizer, but was pretty indicative of what we'd be going through in the coming months. A lot of standing around and waiting for nothing to happen. The door made its unlocking sounds. It swung open. Rudy again. He pointed at me and said, "No phones." I handed my cell phone to Timmy and went in. Rudy closed and locked the door behind me. I moved through the hall past the bathroom and closet. It was a standard room. Rudy squeezed by me and sat on the edge of the king-size bed. I stood at the threshold of the room. The large, dormant TV to my left. Joby and Rudy were joined by Bobby Renstra and Joey Richardson. Joby explained that Teddy couldn't be there because his emphysema was acting up. I said I hoped it wasn't serious. Joey said he'd be fighting through it, just like always. Then we got down to business. Bobby asked the questions. "What's your name?" "J. Bird Davis." "Why are you here?" "To announce my intention to become a Hells Angel." "Why do you want to become a Hells Angel?" "Because I'm tired of playing in the minor leagues." "You understand what being a Hells Angel means?" "I understand that I will have to make sacrifices." "Do you know how hard it can be to become a Hells Angel?" "I don't care how hard it is or how long it takes. I am loyal, I am dedicated, and I am a warrior. All I want is a chance to earn the privilege of being a Hells Angel." They liked that. It wasn't mockery. I was sincere and I was serious. They asked me what I thought about the Solos association with the Mongols. I told them that I didn't like it, and that in part, their relationship was one of the things that compelled me to seek membership with the Angels, the Mongols' sworn enemy. They liked that too. I was excused. Then Timmy, then Pops. They spent about 15 minutes with each of us. Then we waited in the hall for another 30 minutes. Then we were called back in the room together. The room was tight with all of us in there. Joey and Rudy smoked. I asked if Pops and I could smoke too. Joby said sure. Bobby went over some club rules. He said that Skull Valley has a no dope dealing outfit. We were ordered not to bring any more drugs back with us from Mexico. We said that wouldn't be a problem. He said personal use was tolerated. Joby nudged Rudy and said, "Like this tweaker motherfucker," Rudy chuckled. Bobby didn't smile. I'd never seen him smile. "The last thing is this," he said. "You gotta clear up your solo status. Take care of it in person. Get rid of those cuts. Don't fuck around. As far as we're concerned, there's no such thing as a solo angel in the state of Arizona. You no longer exist." Joby said, "We're gonna kick those motherfuckers out of the whole US of A." Bobby didn't move. We said that wouldn't be a problem. Bobby said, "Okay, then that's it," and we shuffled into the hall. I was excited about coming in under Bobby. He was a perfect Hells Angel role model, someone I could learn a lot from. I knew he died for the club or his patch, and I knew he didn't take shit from anyone. Whether I agreed with him or not didn't matter. We may have been dedicated to different things, but it was the dedication itself that mattered most. As we walked down the stairway, Bobby asked, "Burr, you ever get any steroids?" "I don't use them, but I might be able to help you out." "Really? You look juiced." The hydroxy cut had taken what little fat I had and obliterated it. All that was left was muscle, bone, and nervous energy. Just genes and hard work. "Alright, well, I'm looking for Tess, Debo, and Anavar. You come across any, let me know. I'll pay for them." "Will do." I know it's a technicality, but I thought, so much for not dealing drugs and the no needle rule. Another angel went down in early April, Bobby Perez. Perez was a guy who cheated death for far too long. He walked out of several shootouts without so much as a bruise, Laughlin included. while his adversaries hadn't been so lucky. Once in San Diego, he'd single-handedly taken on 3 Mongols, killing one and getting stabbed in the fight. The surviving Mongols ran off, and he became the West Coast H.A. Prom King. Nothing so dramatic caused his death. He'd been arguing with his neighbor, and his neighbor had had enough and gunned him down. For some, karma's a bitch. His funeral service would be in Dago, and we were instructed to ride with Skull Valley. We decided to take advantage of the fact that we'd be on the coast. Before hitting the road, I called teacher, got Alberto's number, and called Alberto. Hello? This Alberto? Yeah, that's how he said it. You know who I mean, right? Oh yeah, me and my guys are gonna be in Dago in a couple of days. We want to meet. We got some things we need to say to you. Okay, he droned. I was hoping he'd sound scared, but he didn't. Bring whoever it is over there that's been talking shit about us. We need to clear this up for good, all of us, okay? Yeah, okay, Burr. He said we could meet at the Chula Vista Denny's on April 12th. I told him we'd be there. We rode out to California through the high desert. Nothing but sand, dirt, scrub, and blue sky for as far as the eye could see. Neither I, Timmy, nor Pops wore cuts. We were in biker limbo. We took the Alberto meeting seriously. If he showed up with a bunch of guys, we intended to state our problems, say we were done with the solos, and not back down. If he came with even numbers, then we were intent on showing him up, maybe even smacking him around a little bit. The angels knew we were going to talk with him and what we were going to tell him, and we had to guard against the possibility that they tail us to see how we handled our business. We got to Denny's first. No Alberto. We crammed into a booth. Pops and I gruffly ordered coffee. Timmy politely asked the waitress for a Diet Coke with lemon. She was unfazed. She was a 40-something waitress at a California Denny's. She'd seen everything guys like us had to offer and more. I was riding high on 6 hydroxys and 2 Red Bulls. This piss-weak Denny's coffee barely tickled my caffeine receptors. Pops was quiet except that when his coffee came, he poured in a couple of ounces of sugar and stirred it for about 5 minutes. Ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. Timmy sat there calmly, reading the paper that had been left on the side of the booth by the previous customer. Alberto came in. Timmy said, "He's here." Pops and I turned to look. We weren't prepared for what we saw. He was alone. "Timmy, tell him we'll meet him outside behind the kitchen." Timmy got up. I rummaged in my pocket and pulled out $7 or $8, then put them on the table. The waitress saw it and came over and asked, "You boys done then?" "Uh-huh," said Pops. We waited for the receipt. We got up and went out back. Timmy stood facing Alberto. He was a short, sturdy guy pushing 50 who wore a drooping mustache and a pair of aviator glasses. Timmy wasn't talking to him. He pinned Alberto down with a hard stare and crossed arms, under one of which was tucked his neatly folded solo cut. I looked at Pops as we approached. He lit a cigarette and offered me one. I waved it off. He put the pack in his breast pocket, leaving it sticking out a little. He looked calm. I walked up to Alberto and asked, "Where the fuck is everybody?" "Just you then, huh?" Yeah, just me." His voice shook. This was going to be easy. "Alrighty then. Here how it is. We're leaving the solos effective immediately." "Why? Why you want to do that?" "Why? We thought you'd be happy. All the shit you talk about us." He shrugged and pushed his glasses up his nose. "Still gotta ask. You got a cigarette?" he asked Pops. Pops shook his head slowly. I looked Alberto up and down. There was nothing to the guy. "We're leaving because the solos are a chicken shit outfit with no balls. And since you showed up here alone, I'll add that you're stupid too." He didn't say anything. He just stared at us through those aviators. I asked, "Why'd you talk so much shit about us?" He gathered himself and said, "I wasn't telling no lies, man." "Yes, you were. We were legit, and we are legit. Just because we're not in Mexico doesn't mean you go run your mouth. You had a problem with me. You should have called, taken care of it like a man, like we're doing now." "Yeah, well, I guess I didn't do that." I stepped a little closer to him. "No shit. Look, I don't want an apology. I could care less. I just want you to know our relationship with your club is over." I turned to Pops and signaled for a smoke. He handed me one. I held it, unlit, in between my fingertips. Alberto asked, "That's it then?" "Yeah, that's it." "Well, I'll need to have your cuts then." I couldn't believe him. "Really? Maybe you do have some balls." I looked at Timmy. The muscles of his face moved in increments. I looked back at Alberto. "No dice, cabrón. We keep the cuts. Payment for our inconveniences." "Can't do that. You know it's club rules." I took a hard drag off the cig. "Well, tell you what. Pops and I don't have ours on us. But if you want Timmy's, feel free to go ahead and take it from him, if you think you can. I took a beat and said, besides, we're not in your club, so fuck your rules. Alberto looked at Timmy and actually moved backwards a half an inch. Timmy huffed a near silent laugh. Listen, Al, you ever want our cuts? Then you can get a crew together, come to Arizona, and take them from us. Won't have a problem finding us. Just ask the first Hells Angels you see. Otherwise, it's been real. He shrugged so slightly, a fly wouldn't have been scared off his shoulder. Other than that, none of us moved. Alberto was wedged between us and a filthy dark green dumpster. I stepped to the side and said, you can leave now. He scampered off, not saying anything. I imagine the guys in the cover van were laughing their asses off. We got on our bikes and went straight to DeMont's, Pete Unice's bar in El Cajon. Bobby and Joby greeted us as we walked in. I said it was done. Joby asked how they took the news. Timmy said the guy pussied out and he didn't take it one way or another. Bobby patted me on the back and said, good, we got some stuff for you guys. We walked through the bar. Hells Angels from all over the West milled around. I nodded to Pete, who was behind the bar, fiddling with the TV remote, and a few other guys I recognized. They all knew who we were. They all nodded back. Joby opened the back door, and we moved onto a patio. No one spoke as Bobby and Joby grabbed 3 vests off a folding table. Joby held 2, Bobby 1. Bobby said humorlessly, you guys done good so far. Congrats, you're official hang-arounds. Joby twanged, chasing Bobby's words like they were his own. Bobby spoke in the same continuum. You now represent the Hells Angels. Anything and everything you say and do is a direct reflection on the club. Walk strong and take care of business. Joby amended, take care of fucking business. Joby handed Pops and Timmy their new cuts. Bobby held mine up for me to put my arms through. I did and turned to face them. We each jostled our shoulders and smoothed the cuts over our chest. They felt good. They were black leather, brand new, and completely free of any flash. Bobby reached in his back pocket and pulled out 3 tabs and handed them out. They were white with the red border. In simple red block letters, the words Skull Valley were stitched into them. Bobby said, they're fit, don't fuck up.